Today we're getting into one of my absolute favorite topics, skincare prep. Yes, before the foundation, before the concealer, before anything else touches your face, we gotta talk about what's underneath. Because listen, skin prep, it makes or breaks the look. I don't care how expensive your foundation is, if your skin isn't prepped right, it's just not gonna sit how you want it to. And don't worry, I'm not about to throw a 15-step skincare routine at you. I'm sharing what actually works for makeup application, things I've learned from doing so many faces and also from trial and error on my own combination skin. So grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's get into it. Okay, first of all, let me just say, this was a lesson I had to learn the hard way. Early in my artistry, I used to show up, cleanse, moisturize, and go. I thought I was doing something. But then I started noticing some faces look smooth and glowy all day, and others patchy, cakey, breaking up by hour 3. And I'm like, what's going on? Turns out the real secret is in the prep. So it's not just about putting on moisturizer and calling it a day. It's about understanding the skin type in front of you, what products will support the makeup and how to layer them so that everything works together. Think of it like a house. You wouldn't build a luxury mansion on sand, right? You need a solid foundation. And in our case, that foundation is skin prep. So let's talk skin types real quick. As a bridal makeup artist, I've worked on every type: dry, oily, combo, hydrated, sensitive, acne prone. And what I've learned is it's not always one size fits all, especially when someone has combo skin. So that's where my zoning approach comes in. I don't just prep the whole face the same way. I look at the different zones and treat them individually. So here's what I look for. Dry zones, usually around the nose, the cheeks, or the jaw. I go in with extra hydration, sometimes even layering a hydrating toner or essence underneath a cream. Oily area, so that's the forehead, nose, and chin. So I'll use more lightweight hydration and then something to help grip oil control, like a mattifying serum, moisturizer, or targeted primer. Sensitive skin, I keep it super minimal, so no strong fragrances, no heavy oils, and definitely no exfoliation ingredients. I like to reach for calming products, so think aloe, chamomile, oat-based anything. So let me walk you through my 4-step core skin prep routine. So this is how I personally prep the skin before any makeup application. The system works on most skin types with a few tweaks depending on the client. First things first, you gotta assess what you're working with. Is the skin dry, oily, dehydrated, but still shiny? Are there any texture concerns or flakiness happening? So I literally take like 60 seconds to just look and feel the skin. I start with micellar water every single time. So Bioderma is my go-to. It's gentle, effective, and it gets rid of any leftover residue, sweat, or oils without stripping the skin. Next up, I tone with Heritage Store rose water and glycerin. I love this stuff. It's refreshing, smells amazing, and a touch of glycerin adds a little hydration and tackiness to the skin, which honestly helps the next steps grip beautifully. Rockberry Renew AM Moisturizer. Now this has become a bit of a staple. It's nourishing, not too heavy, and plays really well under makeup, but I do switch this out if the skin calls for something specific. So this is more like my universal moisturizer when I don't have to do anything fancy. So I used to use a primer on everyone, like it was a required step. Now I'm way more intentional with it. Sometimes it's a blurring primer in the T-zone, sometimes it's a hydrating primer on dry spots, or I'll skip it altogether if the skin is feeling good. So it's about using the right thing only where you need it, not layering just a layer. So for my brides and bridal parties, I like to come fully prepared, because wedding mornings can get real chaotic real quick, and the last thing anyone needs is a skincare emergency. That's why I carry skin type specific kits, one for dry, one for oily, and one for sensitive. Now before I even get started on anyone's makeup, I hand out my pre-prep kits to each bridal party member getting a service. So these are curated with general skincare steps to help them prep their own skin before they sit in my chair. It saves me so much time and helps the makeup go on like a dream, but sometimes skin needs a little extra love. So that's where my skin type kits come in. Someone's feeling extra dry, super oily, or their skin is acting up, I'll pull from these targeted kits to give them a more tailored skincare moment right before I apply makeup. I haven't fully refreshed these kits yet, but I plan to do a full video breaking down what's in each skin type kit once I update them. So if you're curious, definitely stay tuned for that. When it comes to my brides, I always take it a step further. I do the full 4-step prep on them, but I spend a little more time. I might add an eye cream, do a gentle massage, or throw in a hydrating mask. It's not just about the makeup, it's about setting the tone. That 15 to 20 minutes is her time to decompress and feel pampered. It's her wedding day. She deserves a little extra love, But underneath all that pampering, the foundation is still my 4-step system. So it's what gets me that flawless, radiant, long-lasting application every single time. Okay, let's get into mistakes I used to make that I now cringe at. So in case it helps you skip the struggle bus, here's what I've learned. Too much skincare equals peeling. If you've ever seen little flakes rolling off your face as you apply foundation, Yep, that's product buildup. So keep it light and layered. No time to absorb equals sliding makeup. I used to rush between steps, and that's a big no-no. Now I give each layer a minute or two to sit, let it melt into the skin before piling on the next thing. It's a small change that makes a huge difference. And then using the same product on everyone. So one size fits all doesn't exist in skin prep. So that's why I started zoning, customizing, and then bringing those little kits with me. So that's my skincare prep for flawless makeup. I've definitely done way too much, but now I've landed in that sweet spot of just enough, just right, and totally intentional. And I'm sure I'll change it up at some point. But if you're a makeup artist still figuring out your own rhythm, this stuff takes time, trial and error, and trust in your own instincts. Start small, learn your products, and always pay attention to what each face is telling you. So let me know in the comments, what's your go-to product for skin prep? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next.